Welcome to today's Powerback episode of the Gutsy Podcast, my friends. Just in case you're new around here, Powerback episodes are like micro coaching sessions with me, a very short, sweet, to the point way for you to take your power back in one area of your life, your mind, or in your business. And today's focus is on something I like to call the mental cycle. After working with entrepreneurs, thousands of entrepreneurs over the last 15 and a half years, I have noticed, not only within myself, but within others as well, this mental cycle that we tend to get caught in. And this is the cycle that keeps you stuck. This is the cycle that creates frustration. This is the cycle where you talk yourself out of shit. The good news is I have also developed a method to help get you out of that cycle and into what I love, which is the aligned cycle. So today's episode, I'm going to tell you and show you what this cycle looks and feels like and teach you how to get out of it and get into your aligned self. Before we get into the depths of that, I want to preface this episode with two things. First, this is a very small snippet of what I teach inside the Realign program. Realign is a group program that helps you get reconnected with yourself first, and then reconnected with your business. The next group class is going to run this summer. So if you are interested and are loving this information today and are ready to get realigned with yourself and your business, go to LauraAura.com/realign. Second thing I want you to know is that if you are a visual person, I would invite you to also either watch or listen to this episode on YouTube. The link to this episode will be in the show notes, and there is a graphic for you to kind of follow along to visually see the mental cycle and the aligned cycle. And fun fact, you can find lots of Powerback episodes and now guest episodes on YouTube as well. All right, so let's let the fun begin. The mental cycle, as I mentioned, is this pattern, this habit, this groove that we tend to get in based off of thoughts, feelings, emotions, ideas, what other people are doing. I mean, it's just what is happening. And it's also where your subconscious mind is like, I know how to fucking handle this. I got it from here. So let's go ahead and switch over and look at what this cycle looks like. So let me walk you through the mental cycle, and I would love to hear from you as well. DM me on Instagram or TikTok and tell me which part of this cycle that either you're currently in or you tend to kind of get hung up in. So here's what typically happens. You get the very first thing, which is an aha moment. You get an idea, you get like this drop in, you get this intuitive like feeling, thought, service idea, whatever it is, like you just get this drop in and you're like, oh yeah, there's something to this. This is exciting. This feels good in my body. This feels like an all hands on deck. Hell yes. The next part of the cycle then is what I call ideas in motion. So you take this idea and you're like, I can't get enough of this. This is where you start researching day and night. You're writing things down. You've got a notebook by your side. You are going through the motions. You're reading blogs. You're reading social media posts. Like you're just like digging into this concept. Like you're diving into the depths of the ocean. In this phase, you're likely talking about it with friends or family members, coworkers, employees. Maybe you're brainstorming it by writing it down, mapping it out, sketching things out. Like you're just like in the thick of it in the best of ways. And then this is where things start to turn. This next step is what I call the mental scramble. This is where your subconscious wants to raise their hand and say, I have some questions and I have some things to say. So this is where your thoughts take over. Am I good enough? Is this even a good idea? Is anybody going to pay for this? Oh my gosh, I don't think anybody would pay for this. Maybe they wouldn't even pay that price. You know, I should probably get a certification first. I probably need to read another book first. Maybe after I go to that conference, then I can be good enough. And on and on and on. The mental scramble does just that. It scrambles the idea. It scrambles the confidence. It scrambles the potential because your thoughts have completely taken over. And then if we're not able to catch those thoughts, if we don't shift those thoughts, if we do nothing with those thoughts, we go into the standstill. And that is where everything stops. You close the notebook, you put it back on the shelf. You stop reading blogs, you stop thinking about the idea, you stop talking about it. You stop taking action. You just like put it on the shelf and it starts to collect dust. And every once in a while you get a passing thought about it, but then you're like, nah, I've already talked myself out of that. So we're not going to give it any time or attention today. And then wash, rinse, repeat. The mental cycle continues. You see a post, you see a billboard, you see something beautiful in nature, you hear a song, and all of a sudden you get a new download, you get a new idea, or maybe the old one pops back up and you start the cycle all over again. And this is the cycle that keeps you stuck because the subconscious mind is taking over. The old thoughts and belief systems have taken over, and they seemingly have more power. They are louder, they are noisier, and so therefore they often win. The good news is this cycle can be broken. You can actually create a new cycle that is healthier, that is stronger, that gives you the opportunity to move through the things that are stopping you so that you can actually take action, so that you can continue to move forward, so that you can push through the resistance, so you can get clarity when your mind is going 1,000 miles an hour. So one of the most important things that I want you to know about this process is awareness. I'm telling you, I will say awareness to you 40 million times. Because if you are not aware of your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your tendencies, and your habits, the shit will continue. And no one is coming to shift that for us. No one is coming to say, hey, you're doing that thing again. Unless, of course, you have a coach or a mentor. P.S. One of the things that I love to help you with is to hold you accountable and to point out the things that maybe you've just gotten so damn used to that you don't even see anymore. But ultimately, the goal is to build your own self-awareness so that you can have the power to shift in these moments. So the first place that I want you to really start to build awareness is between the phases of ideas in motion and mental scramble. This is like the first onset of a negative thought. This is the first idea that you have that you're not good enough. This is the first shitty thing that you say to yourself in silence. This is the first hesitation that you have. This is the first level of procrastination, right? You see how all of these things, this mental scramble can show up in a lot of different forms and fashions, and recognizing your own version of that is essential to shifting this cycle. When you first hear that thought, feel that feeling in your body. Sometimes it's a feeling before it's a word in your brain. Sometimes it's a tightness in your chest. Sometimes it's a weird knotty feeling in your stomach. Sometimes your right fucking toe starts hurting. I don't know, like however it shows up for you. Your body is always communicating with you, and it's going to show up, whether it's in the physical form or it's in the mental form. It's going to say something. And that's your subconscious's way of saying, hey, we're trying something new and I don't know how to navigate that. I'm scared. And so I'm going to do what I know how to do best. And that might be to talk us out of this. So if you can build the awareness, that's actually the first step in the Powerback process. If you're new to that, the Powerback process is a very simple way that I've developed for you to shift your thoughts in the moment and get back into alignment. So instead of these thoughts taking over you for days, weeks, or months at a time, you can shift it in the moment, get your power back, and keep moving forward on the path that you know that you're intended to be on. So awareness is always the first piece. If you build awareness through, this is an acronym, AURA. It's about getting back into your energy, back into your power. The A is about awareness. I caught the thought. I can hear myself going down that road again. I can feel that weirdness in my right toe. I can feel this hesitation in my body. I'm feeling like I'm frantic, right? Like whatever it is showing up for you, you're building insanely aware feelings around it. And I promise you, it's a little bit weird at the beginning, but it gets easier because you're building a new muscle. The next step is you unpack it. This is a space of curiosity. Where did this come from? Where did I hear something? Did something trigger me? Did I read something? Have I been down this road before? I'm just building curiosity around where this thought or feeling actually came from. Then you can move into R, which is to reframe it. What is actually real and true? What is happening in this moment? What are you actually capable of? I have resources. I've figured out things before. I'm more than ready. I know that there are people that would love to buy this. And then A, aligned action. This is where you're choosing to take your next step based off of your realigned self. Because before, when that mental scramble is taken over and your mind's going 1,000 miles an hour, that is not your aligned self. In fact, that is your not self. By going through this simple process, I say simple because it's a very short thing to do. You don't need a bunch of bells and whistles. You don't have to like go anywhere and do anything. Like you can literally just pause for 45 seconds and do this. But the practice of doing it, the implementation of it, holding yourself accountable to it, it's not always so easy. But I promise you, I'm literally promising you, if you implement this, this will change the game for you. Because when you're back into your aligned self, now you are choosing to move forward. And you can shift from this mental cycle to now the aligned cycle. So let's walk through what the aligned cycle looks and feels like. Let's start with the aha moment. You get an idea. You're excited about this. You're like, this is brilliant. I know people would buy this. I feel good about offering this. Like, I am so excited that I could pee a little bit. Like, I want to tell everybody about it. This is the thing. This is the thing that I want to develop next. You shift into ideas in motion. You're reading blogs, you're writing things down, you're mapping it out, you're sketching it out, you're talking to some trusted coaches or mentors about it. You're getting some feedback from some clients or your audience. Maybe you're putting polls out. You're like really like crafting and playing with this. Then you shift into and stay in self-belief. So instead of the mental scramble, now we're in self-belief. Now we believe that the idea that we have and the people that want to buy it are true, are possible. Like your idea can be the next thing for you, that this could be a launch pad to the next portion of your career, that this could be the next best thing that serves you and your audience in this moment. You're talking to yourself with empowering words. I'm so excited about this. I don't really know all the answers, but that's okay. I don't have to have all the answers because I've taken messy action, like Laura told me last week in the Powerback episode. I've got a ton of tools and resources. I can lean on people to guide me. And you know what? That timeline that I was kind of weirding out about for a second, that's self-inflicted. I don't need to do that. I'm going to spread out this timeline. I'm going to give myself the time, the grace, and the patience. And I'm going to build this the way that I want to. And then you move into aligned action. So instead of the standstill, instead of putting the book on the bookshelf, instead of putting things off and saying, you know what, not for me, not today, maybe not ever. Now your self-belief has turned into action. You're mapping things out. Maybe you're planning out your schedule or your calendar. Maybe you're writing content about this idea. Maybe you are doing a soft launch. Maybe you have built one single page for it. You have moved into inspired, aligned action instead. And that's the power of your thoughts, my friend. Your thoughts are literally the thing that are going to propel you forward and create all the magical things that you know are possible. Or it's going to be the thing that keeps you stuck in the hamster wheel. The very hamster wheel, by the way, that you are able to step off of. You can literally put your foot out to the right and step off of it. But your subconscious and your mind is telling you that that is worse than staying on the hamster wheel in a cycle that's getting you nowhere. And that is the power of awareness, because the awareness is what lights things up again. It's what brings you back into conscious mind. It's what brings you back into the present moment. And it gives you the opportunity to respond instead of react, to move forward instead of freezing, to ask for help instead of overworking yourself. And while it takes some time and some practice, the more you do this, the quicker you will catch them in the moment, the sooner you will shift into the aligned cycle. And the sooner that you're into the aligned cycle, the more your opportunities show up, the easier your programs get to be, the more the content flows out of you to write about it, the more invitations to be a part of conferences and speaking engagements and other podcasts become available. Clients start to show up. Literally, like, opportunities are just like, yeah, I'm here for this because I can feel your energy. I don't know about you, but I really dislike busting my ass and working my face off to get all the way to the end and hear crickets and have nothing happen and have felt like I wasted my time, my money, my energy, to feel like I'm not good enough, or see, nobody actually wants my stuff anyway. Like, when you build your products and your services, when you work towards your dreams with this heavy, gnarly feeling, that's the energy that you're putting into it. But when you switch to aligned, centered, grounded energy, a space where you're taking messy action, a space where you're feeling good about the product or service, a space where you're talking great about yourself. It's not about being perfect. Okay. You're going to have moments throughout the process where you're like, oh, well, and then you're like, there it is. Let me shift through that right now. When you build with that type of energy, great outcomes can happen. And even if things get to a point and you're like, it's just not where I thought it would be, I'm going to bet that you get to learn something about it along the way, that you have new tools in your tool belt for the next round, that you have a base for something that's going to grow maybe even bigger or in a different direction. The point is that you get to choose. You get to drive. You get to control the way that this goes. I know you can't control every aspects of the world, but you can choose to recognize the thought, shift them in the moment, and take inspired aligned action to do the things that you know that you were put on this earth to do. And that's actually a really beautiful segue into what next Tuesday's episode is about. It's with Vanya Barrick, and she's talking to us about how to believe in yourself again. Self-belief, this shifting of the thoughts and the feelings about yourself, is really the foundation in which everything in your life is built upon. Reminder, if you were really digging this information and are hungry for some more, this is just a tiny, tiny snippet of what is inside the Realign program. The next group will go live this summer. So if you're interested in signing up, go to LauraAura.com/realign. In the meantime, come say hello. Tell me about which part of the cycle you find yourself in the most, or maybe you are currently in. You can DM me on Instagram or TikTok. You can find me using @thatLauraAura. And as always, until I see you next time, stay gutsy.